This week, Kenyans were witness to ritualized apology, a tool deployed by the political class and other leaders to use certain assets and weapons and other grooming tools that have been inserted into the minds of their followers or citizens in this class in order to build back goodwill and continue what they were doing. And so let us look at the ritualized apology or confession of Nelson Koech, the Belgut MP, towards the order of shoot to kill Kenyans who were protesting in the 2025 maandamano, where they were protesting police brutality after the police had killed innocent civilians who were either protesting the cost of living, the poor governance, the corruption, and police brutality, or some were just walking by, and others had been taken from their homes for writing or for exposing this, and also brutally murdered in police cells. So let's look at ritualized confession, the tool that now Belgut MP is deploying, how it was used, how it works, the process, and how we can counter that. Because since it's a ritual, there is also a counter ritual. So sasa hapa tunaenda kienyeji. Remember when this Belgut guy was talking about shoot to kill, he was not the originator of that statement. It is very important for you to bear in mind how that entire ritual was done, because it was a ritual to instill terror and fear in the minds of Kenyans. It was first uttered by Murkomen, who in the presence of police said shoot to kill. And in that moment, he was able to move the constitutionally granted and freedom of Kenyans to protest from their right to now a criminal activity, because after that we saw the judiciary moving very fast, and like they had moved on the cases of police brutality to declare the ones who had been arrested and from specific regions of this country, from central Kenya, as terrorists. And those are the charges that they are facing. So after the failure of containing the 2024 maandamano, when the state was caught with all the facts against them, because increased cost of living, state capture by foreign powers, that is the IMF and World Bank, where Kenya was no longer a sovereign nation, and we could see how the policies now were going to be used to take away the little that Kenyans contributed, so that there was nothing that was going to remain for Kenyans, because whatever came seemed to be stolen and used to build primitive wealth accumulation as assets that these politicians still to do. They were flaunting their clothes, their everything that they had stolen from Kenyans to show us that they are doing this. And so the same flounders, when they were caught and Kenyans said the cost of living is too high, the taxation and all this, and we're not seeing the requisite results, the return on investment on this, and they took to the streets, the government was shocked, and they were first caught, but now they had to evolve and create tools so that they can continue stealing, and to do so and extorting Kenyans without being caught again with their pants down. So when it happened in 2024, they were a bit ready. So the people who talked about it, one of them was taken, and because of independence of media, this guy, from whatever sources, he was fingered as the guy to be sacrificed, so that the rest of the writers and content creators and bloggers and activists could smell and taste the fear. And in that brutality that happened at Central Police Station, and the guy was murdered, we saw that what happens when the police decide to come for you. And the era of Subaru was born now. It was in vivid color. And then innocent Kenyans were killed, and it did not matter, because now if you even protested, you were a terrorist. After that declaration and that theater, somebody came now to repeat the chorus. Remember, for every ritual, there must be a mantra repeated. And the mantra was repeated. The chorus boy, the echo was made by Nelson Koech. Which is why it is critical, because now he's the guy who seems to have walked back the apology. Not the originator, not the original composer, but ule mtu wa chorus. Yeye sasa ndio anaimba hiyo apology. Now, when even that time, his initial words were captured and used now to show that, because he served the purpose then, he served the purpose to justify what Murkomen had done, so that it was not a lone voice in the jungle, and that second voice was now used and borrowed to criminalize Kenyans in their own country. He served his purpose. So after serving that purpose, he is now, and Kenyans, the brutality continued. The first apology, the first worker of that apology was done by William Ruto. William Ruto is an expert in working back apologies of brutality, of murder, of state capture, of corruption. And being an expert, we will see what he did. He diverted, he doubled down, and he then diversified. How did he divert? First, he diverted the conversation by saying the Kenyans who were being shot were criminals. Not Kenyans. Nobody is a criminal when they are protesting. But now he said they were criminals because they were destroying property. Remember, this is the property that should have been your school, your hospital, your factory, your healthcare. Even police could have had, your security. So he diverted it from protesters to criminals. That is why he was able to double down on the issue of shooting. And he said, well, they can shoot the leg. So that shooting remained because the message was so that terror and fear and suppression could remain in the minds of Kenyans. And every Kenyan who watched that, who knows William Ruto, and since we are all Kenyans and we watched that or heard about it and we know William Ruto, we knew the shooting order remains. And the state will find a way to make you a criminal. And so in diversifying to pacify, because you diversify to pacify, he said it's the leg, not the heart or the brain. Because remember, there was that guy who was shot twice in the head, the hawker, the guy who was selling masks. So now shooting the leg. That is the ritual. Somebody makes a statement, he's not the one who apologizes. Another person comes and doubles down so that it becomes something that people are talking, and it appears to the rest of us that this is something they are talking about and they are agreeing to, and so that the state and the court can have justification of calling these people terrorists. And then now they start trying now to soothe the waters because the message has been sent and action has been taken. And so he diverted, doubled down, and diversified so that he could pacify the people who are interviewing him. And so he can have a justification, because he'll come back and say, when they were saying shoot to kill, I said shoot the leg. And in fact, memes were born of that, because in the pacification, Kenyans could in a way handle it and made it a wheelchair nation. Because Kenyans could not just handle that straight up murder, shoot to kill, because killing is murder. And everybody knew there was no criminal being shot. It was innocent protesters, and in specific regions. Innocent Kenyans, citizens. So that is the ritual. So in working back, let's look at the tools that Belgut guy, this Koech guy, deployed so that you can see. He came and said, I am a good guy. He put on a suit and said, I am a good guy. And also, killing is wrong because of the Constitution. The Bible, I swear, the Bible. The Bible, the most killing, fantastical book in the world. The book where this guy murders people in every chapter, even his own. The Bible. He literally said the Bible does not allow killing. This is a God of murder. This is the... How else has killing been justified by every regime, every colonizer? It's the Bible. You're killing. It's justified. This is the book. Anyway, let's not go into that because that's another drama. But the killing in the Christians, the religion, the organized Christianity, they have ritualized confession. That is why even that process is like that. Go confess. Then once you confess your sins, then you'll be forgiven. And the burden is now upon Kenyans to forgive him, because he was allowed. The media now is the confessor, is the father. They took him, they allowed him to say his words to many people, so that now we feel guilty for not forgiving. In fact, according to the Bible, now we are the criminals because we have not forgiven this guy who said shoot to kill. That is the ritual of confession. The burden, the sin has been transferred to the innocent victims. And now us as victims, we are being victimized twice if we don't forgive this guy who told the police to shoot to kill. And the circle is complete. The sinner is now the innocent victim. And us who are sinned against are now the criminals. And the sinners will go to hell because we did not forgive this guy. So how do we undo this? We have 10 seconds. Let's not forget what he said on July 10th. Let's not air his confession. Let's air the original words. so that we remain there.